Because when I look at the comment section, I see two people clapping for you. It's either black people that don't know any better, who don't know the history, who don't know what's going on and don't know the why, who are just as frustrated as you. And I see white folks going, thank you so much, finally somebody said it. I just got through watching a video of Gillie and Wallo on the Drink Champs, and Gillie said a lot of things about the black community that I have to respond to. I'm about to do that now, but it's gonna take me about 25 minutes. So if you're not gonna invest that amount of time in watching this video, I'm gonna ask you not to comment on this video, because there are gonna be people that aren't gonna watch this video in its entirety and say that I'm hating on Gillie or I'm bashing or whatever, and not really get the full picture because they don't have the time. So if you don't have the 20 minutes to devote, bookmark this video, come back to it. My name is Tim Black. It's worth the 20 to 25 minutes of your life to watch this video. With that being said, let's begin. When you say no one cares about black people being killed unless they're killed by white cops, that's a slap in the face of all the people who have ever fought for justice for black people in their communities. What you need to say, what you should be saying, is that the only thing media focuses on is what is clicking and viewable. If you want to fix the problems in black communities that are non-functional or dysfunctional or violent, go to a white community that is functional, that is prosperous, and look at whatever they have there and then put it in black communities. Put those same resources, put those same investments, put the same tax base, the same level of schooling, the same level of access, the same opportunity for their parents as you give white parents. Give that to black parents and you will see similar outcomes, maybe even exceptional outcomes. But you cannot go to a community that doesn't have the same resources, the same access, that is over-policed up and down, that has a school-to-prison pipeline, that has environmental injustice every step, has educational injustice, it has medical injustice, health injustice, injustice in every way impossible, and then say, why aren't you functioning like this community that is well off, that has resources, that has opportunity? And when you go off on these rants and when you condemn black people and yell and spit and curse at black people for you say they're not doing enough, all you do is repeat white supremacist talking points in your comment section. You're gonna have a bunch of people that do not read books, that don't understand why the condition of these neighborhoods exists. They don't understand the history surrounding what made these communities what they are, and they have been created this way, they have been made this way, this was intentional. These people are not defective, they're put into defective situations. If we drop you right now into Fallujah, you would adapt. If we dropped you right now into the North Pole, you would adapt to the North Pole. If there is no sun, you can't make a sun shine. You can't make water where there is a desert. You can't, it's impossible. That's not how it works. So when you create an atmosphere and environment that does not have the tools necessary, the probability of people creating those tools out of lack of resources is very minimal. But we have success stories every day. What upsets me, Gillie, is when we have brothers like yourself who have a platform that's humongous, reaches millions of people every month, that do not do the research, that do not take the time, but then repeat the same words that David Duke, that Richard Spencer, that Ben Shapiro. These are all white guys who have no love for the black community at all, who blame all issues in the black community on black people themselves, who will not give a man a fish or a fishing pole and then say, go make dinner. Worse than that, when we make our own fishing pole, smack the fishing pole out your hand, break it into two, throw it in the river and say, pull yourself up, get to fishing. And I'm not exaggerating what I'm referring to. No one bombed white communities back to the Stone Age. Black people did not go into white communities and open dams and flood the towns. Black people did not put white people into areas where there were no investment, then penalize people that would even sell us homes. Black people did not deny white people the opportunity to create wealth and then turn around 10 years later and say, why are you poor? Imagine putting deeds on houses, clauses in deeds and houses that say, if you sell a house to a black person, we could take your house from you. This is America, man. These are not excuses, Gillie. These are reasons. These are the why that you're looking for. What upsets me the most? Well, a lot of things upset me, but it upsets me that we have brothers that are so passionate like you are, but will talk so negatively about black folks. To the point where I'm finding it difficult to see the difference between you and Candace Owens. We can look at Candace Owens, for instance, and we can see clearly that Candace Owens is profiting from her hate of black people, off the hate that white people have for black people, or the ignorance and the bigotry towards black people. That's what she profits off of. But when you talk like that, you sound just like her. Exactly like her. No one is condoning the murder or the death of a child or the shootings that occur in neighborhoods. But we have scholars, we have people that have been talking about this for over 100 years, man. No one's funding them. BLM was successful. The only reason why you know what BLM was is because it was funded by the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party and other corporations didn't put money into it, you would have never heard of it. So having that in mind, there are great organizations, there are people that work hard, there are people that want to give their communities hope all across this country. And they're not funded. They don't get media attention. But when you go on a platform as big as Drink Champs, and you're sitting there with Nori, who obviously doesn't know what to say because he hasn't taken the time to study it. When you sit next to Wallo, God bless his heart, has he had an opportunity to dive into this issue? And all you can do is say black people are failing black people by not going in a neighborhood where people have no options, basically, and saying, stop doing what you're doing. But we know, you know as I do, that you can't just go to people who are clinging or at the bottom of society, hanging on by a thread, who are facing eviction, who are housing insecure, who live in food deserts, who live near the poverty line, and say, why aren't you doing better? As if that's going to make it better. When you realize that our counterparts, our lighter complected folks across town, are not faced with the same obstacles that we are. Basically, what you're doing is you're looking at one person who has a chauffeur and a limo pick them up and take them to a destination, say for school. And they get to school at a certain time, on time. And you're looking at somebody else who has to walk 2 miles over broken glass. And you're saying, why aren't you on time? Everything in life and everything that we're dealing with is not about intentions or lack of trying. Trying hard or having good intentions does not pay mortgages or rents. It does not keep you living indoors. It also does not give you a job. I want to give you a number, and I want you to remember this number. It's important. It's called less than 2%. Less than 2%. After I tell you the name of a profession, I want you to say the magic word, less than 2%. Now, black engineers, less than 2%. Movie directors, less than 2%. Black doctors, less than 2%. Black lawyers, less than 2%. So we could keep going. The fact that black people exist in America and that some of us are thriving and then some of us are maintaining and some of us are surviving. The fact that you have any of that is in itself a success story. Is there more work to do? Should people be held accountable? Yes. But if you don't hold the government policies accountable, the laws that hampered black folks, if you don't hold those things accountable, then all you're doing is yelling at the victim saying, why don't you take a better punch? You're yelling at an abused woman with a black eye and broken leg and saying, why don't you fight back better? You don't see it that way. But when people are born into situations of poverty, or people are born into neighborhoods of other people born into generational poverty without that opportunity, and you show up and you say, why are these people doing better? You don't realize that other communities don't have that generational poverty built up in those communities. And that's the difference. So I just want to be clear. You people with big platforms have an obligation to become educated on these topics if you're going to have the conversations, because you reach way too many people for you to be ignorant in your interpretations of what's going on for black people. Or you can do us a favor and stop talking about black issues and talk about basketball or talk about rap music, because that's what your platform is for. You don't want to read 100 articles a month like I do? Then stop talking about news. If you want to understand what's going on in the black community, you got to bring onto your platform doctors like Dr. Derek Hamilton, Dr. Sandy Darity, and Dr. Cornel West, so they can educate you and your audience. That's your obligation. That's your accountability. Get it? That's what you got to do. Because that shows that you're trying. But you'll talk about other people not trying, but are you trying? Or you could just stay in your motherfucking lane. Yep, you could stay in your lane and stop letting your ignorance show and stop perpetuating racist talking points. Because when I look at the comment section, I see two people clapping for you. It's either black people that don't know any better, who don't know the history, who don't know what's going on and don't know the why, who are just as frustrated as you. And I see white folks going, thank you so much, finally somebody said it. And when you look around and that's all you see, that should be your indication that you need to shut up and stop talking so much. Because what you're saying ain't making any sense. And for the record, I don't support people trying to be activists, the hacktivists or the jacktivists or whatever you call these people that are just out to make money using activism as a leg up. I don't support that. But please, guys, please. There are people that are running cancer societies, cancer organizations, food banks, pick up to help the kids, tutoring, that are doing the same thing all across the country from every walk of life. To only focus on black folks who are activists is to ignore the entire industry. And I do the entire industry. And I'm guilty of this too. It was once upon a time, I've been right there with you calling out these people that I don't believe are genuine. America has a long history of making money off of people in vulnerable situations. The Democratic Party has done it forever. And the Republican Party has made a profit center out of not funding black people, out of also by benefiting off the failure of black people, the setup for failure that black people experience in the form of private prisons. It's just one example. So many industries feed off black failure. It's built into the system. We can go on and on, but I just wanted to say, it's not, once again, it's not about hate. It's not about viewership. I want viewership, of course. I want people to follow my show, Tim Black's Black Table. I've been doing this over a decade. Of course, I want to spread awareness about it, but that's not why I'm responding to you. I'm responding to you, Gillie, because you triggered me, because your lack of understanding was so glaring that it demanded a response and a retort. And still, I doubt that it'll get the legs that your statement did. And your statement is damaging when you yell about black people not caring about black people when nothing's farther from the truth. People care about black people, brother. We care about our babies. We care about our communities. Come on. But if we are done, but if we're not given the opportunity to have the investment and the resources so that people can make better decisions, we're going to have a hard time winning people over. Because they're worried about today, surviving today. They're worried about paying the bills tomorrow, today, keeping a roof overhead. All these pressures are on folks. I'm not saying guns and gun violence isn't an issue. You damn right it's an issue. But whenever you start having these conversations and you want to go on the tear and you want to jump down the necks of black people, I want you to pause for 30 seconds. And before you say anything, say one word, ask one question. Why? Why? Why are they out in the streets? Because they don't have jobs. Why don't they have jobs? Because they went to a shit school. Why was the school shitty? Because it's underfunded. Why is it underfunded? Because it relies on the tax base of the people that live there. Why is that? Because the government deemed it that way. Because white folks do not want to pay for black folks to get education. And since they knew black people were underpaid and discriminated against, they would not be able to fund their own schools properly from their own taxes, that they would end up in this situation. There are always going to be folks in my comment section saying, you are a race hustler. You are playing the race card. Some are genuinely ignorant and the other ones know I'm right. Which one are you? When we talk about accountability, let's talk about accountability for everyone. Not just the people who are the victims of a system that did everything in its power to put us on the bottom and keep us there. So when you want to start talking about accountability, don't just talk about the people that should be able to take more punches to the jaw and get up. Let's talk about the people that were throwing the punches and continue to throw the punches that put us on the deck. Let's talk about that. And mostly that's the problem where people don't want to have that conversation because now you're starting to piss off the dominant society. Now you're pissing off people that control your money. Now, I don't want to say that's how you rolling, but that's how it starts sounding. Because when we start talking about a thing, and you ain't gonna really say what the thing is, and you want to make it about what the weakest people in the equation aren't doing, well, that don't sound very genuine. And I say that out of love, brother, because maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you just don't know. Like I said, you tell me which side of the fence you are on. It's two types of people. The people that say, you race baiting? Are you a race hustler? Are you playing a race card? Because those people are ignorant or those people know I'm right and they don't want to admit it. So which one are you? I agree with you. Time is short and people are dying. And what we need is more people to stand up. But this system is very diabolical, as we both know. And all I'm saying is I'm not expecting you to be Malcolm X, but I am expecting you to do your research, to do it properly, to speak boldly and put yourself in harm's way, or to shut up. Because we don't need you having this huge platform and using it to dump on black people because you don't know what's going on. Because you haven't taken the time to find out why something is the way it is. Maybe she don't want to go out with you because she got raped. Or maybe he don't want to go to that club because he got shot at last week. So then here you go showing up talking about, why aren't you going to the club and why don't you want to go out? See, that's what's wrong with y'all. You don't want to go to clubs and you don't want to go out. See, that's what's wrong. But see, the why is important. It's important to know why something is the way it is instead of showing up and going, you guys are all fucked up. So I'm telling you the why. I'm telling you why. All right, my name is Tim Black. I am the host of Tim Black's Black Table. We live stream on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to be a part of that conversation. We talk about real shit. And we run the risk every time of being attacked by a bunch of white people who don't want what we're saying to ever reach black people. But what you're saying, they love to amplify. There's a reason for that. All right. Thanks for listening. Share this with a friend.
Tim Black's The Black Table streams live 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Times on YouTube and Facebook. Be there, family.